And welcome to the NFL Today on YouTube. JB along with Coach Nate and Matt Ryan. Coach, I'm thinking about a comment you made before. One of the big picture notes, coaches who were on the hot seat and being talked about aggressively in some corners, they ought to be fired. Let's talk about them. It was Mike McDaniel. You'll talk about him.
He won.
Of course, Aaron Glenn.
He won.
And you really got incensed when somebody mentioned John Harbaugh to you.
Yeah, I think they're.
Nate saw that chin jut out. Talk to him.
Well, you know.
Feel it. I could feel it. It was on a Zoom, JB, and I could feel it.
Yeah.
You know, I know John, and I talk to John periodically, and John loves this kind of stuff. I mean, he doesn't love being there, but he doesn't run away from it. He embraces the challenge. He embraces the naysayers, and he challenges his team with that. And I think this football team reflects that. And I think Snoop Huntley, as what he say, he texted John Harbaugh. He said he wanted to come back into the National Football League because he says he wanted to play for the best organization. And what did John Harbaugh do? He texted him right back and said, please join us. And so he brought him back, and he delivered today. You saw how the team responded, how the offense responded. But I'm going to give a shout-out to Zach Orr, too.
Yep.
He's a defensive coordinator. They played their best game 2 weeks ago against the Rams. They followed up today going against a Chicago Bear team that have been putting up some numbers. We talked how well they've been coming into this game. And again, I go back to it. They made a trade 2 weeks ago to get this guy, Alohi Gilman. Alohi Gilman was a safety. They gave up Owe, who was a pass rusher, and they've not been able to rush a quarterback. But he sensed something on the back end. And the back end was let Kyle Hamilton be Kyle Hamilton. Let Kyle Hamilton, for me, be Troy Polamalu. He is a leader of that football team. Make no mistake about it. Bring him to the line of scrimmage where he can make a difference. And Alohi Gilman played with him at Notre Dame. So these two worked together very early. It was Alohi Gilman's senior year. It was Kyle Hamilton's freshman year. So there was a background that these two guys had together when you look at them. But this guy, Kyle Hamilton, what they've done these last 2 weeks, again, that first 6, that was today. But even against the Rams, they gave up 18 points against a very potent Rams offense. And this teams that played better on defense. They get Lamar Jackson back. Again, they got a long way to go. They dug themselves a hole at 2-5. But I tell you what, we still know that that's a football team to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I think you talked about John Harbaugh not shying away from the situation that they're in. And I had a coach that, when I played for him, he said one of the most rewarding things in life, pick up what I'm putting down here, Nate, is doing hard-ish with good people.
Oh, hey.
So it's doing hard things with good people.
I feel you. Okay.
And I think that's what John Harbaugh leans into, right? There is a sense when players play in that building, and the organization as a whole, right, is good people that are doing hard things together. And that's why they've been so successful for so long. And so you look at certain teams that you just feel like are going to dig in and find a way in really difficult situations. And I immediately think of Baltimore. I think one of the things that surprised us so much early in the season was the way they were getting beat, physically getting beat up.
Yeah.
And they've corrected that, right? They came out today against a Chicago team who'd been running the ball extremely well, held them under 100 yards net rushing, right? That's no easy feat to go out there and do that. And so I give them credit for buckling the chin straps, getting back to the basics, playing black and purple football of beating you up, making sure you're bruised after you go play them. I also think it's almost the perfect case scenario for Lamar Jackson. It was going to be difficult coming in off that hamstring, playing back-to-back Sunday to Thursday. And if you could somehow find a way to get a win out of here with Snoop Huntley, which they did, and keep Lamar's hamstring somewhat healthy where he can maybe play on Thursday and then get that long extended break the first time after playing it and go through this stretch that they have coming up where they go against Miami, they go against Minnesota, they go against Cleveland, they go against the Jets, and they get into division against Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Coach, you've been saying it. Don't count the Ravens out, right? There's a way that they could scratch and claw themselves back into it. And I think it starts and ends with the person who's running the show, and John Harbaugh.
Yeah, and check out this graphic right here. Listen, teams to make the postseason after a 2-5 start. This is since 2020. You got the Commanders, the Eagles, the Jags, and the Packers. All right, so it's doable, but it's very difficult to do. You know, I'll touch on the game, and then I want to double back to what you're saying, Matt. But looking at that offense with Huntley, I can only imagine what the Bears defense was hearing all week. Listen, they got Derrick Henry. and this offense is going to be based around the run game. So we're going to load the box. I want you to keep your eyes in the backfield, and if we stop the run, we can kind of suffocate this offense, and we'll have a better chance of getting our offense back on the field, and we can win this game. I credit the Ravens offense for understanding that. You know, the idea of a chess match between coordinators. Saw a lot of play action. And you saw those linebackers, those cornerbacks, those safeties downhill. I mean, they're sitting on their toes, ready to attack the run. These guys were running wide open. And credit to Huntley, calm in the pocket, hitting guys right exactly where they needed to be to have the ball thrown. And I can appreciate that, because that wasn't something that they adjusted to in the second half. That was something they had already had planned out going into it. And what you were saying about doing hard-ish with good people, listen, we've all been there in a season where it's just not going according to plan. And you're sitting at a bar. You might be at your coach's house, your teammate's house. You're cracking a few beers open. And that one leader on the team looks at you and he's like, listen, man, hard times are here, but I would not want anybody else with me in this moment. And I love hearing that. And when a quarterback says that to you, or your coach says that to you, and they mean it, everybody responds. And you know when Harbaugh says it to his guys, he means it, and this team is responding.
And, you know, I sat there this past week and did a podcast with Cam Hayward. And Cam had said to me, what was your mentality with the 2005 team? And that mentality, quite frankly, was bred when we were 7-2 and lost 3 straight games at 7-5. And everybody said we were done. And I said, you know, there's no greater satisfaction in life or in sports than to do something that no one thinks you can do. Don't let anybody tell you what you can or can't do. Don't let history dictate your future, but maybe do something that makes history. Okay, so that motivation, that when we all at some point in your careers, Ryan, you're too skinny to play in the NFL. Burleson, you're just a role player. And all you had to do was hear something like that as a player.
No doubt.
And man, that just took you to another notch. And I think he knows how to hit the right tone at the right time with the right type of guys around him who believe in him, who understand exactly what that sacrifice is like, what that perspective is like, what that compassion and hunger is like. So go ahead and do this. Now, don't you look at that schedule. Again, I'm going to say the same thing to you. You're going to say, oh, the Miami Dolphins. Well, the Miami Dolphins just came off playing one of their best games in the national.
Congrats to Mike
McDaniel.
And a desperate team is a dangerous one.
Because
we are desperate too.
Right.
I want to say one last thing, though, about when you're in that type of situation where you're 1-5 and now they're 2-5. You also need things to fall into place around you. And that's exactly what's happening in the AFC North right now. The Jets did the Ravens a favor today, knocking off Cincinnati, keeping Cincinnati under 500. Cincinnati did Baltimore a favor, knocking off Pittsburgh the week before. So there's no team that's running away from you yet in that space. And as they start to get themselves right, you sometimes need help to dig yourself out of that hole from other people in the division. And that's exactly what's happening right now. You know, earlier today on NFL Plus, we were talking about the art of the comeback within a game. But some of those same concepts in the same mindsets, it applies to coming back during a season as a team. And you know, I was thinking about boxing. You know, JB, I know you love boxing like I do. And when you think about some of the most epic boxing matches in history, it always started with somebody getting knocked down early, right?
The fight doesn't start till you take the first punch.
And that's it. and you can't have an epic comeback in boxing unless you absorb some hits first. And the same thing, it applies to a football season. Like, you're going to have to absorb your lumps. You're going to have to lose game. Derrick Henry's going to have to fumble in order to tote the rock a little bit better. Lamar Jackson's going to have to tweak that hammy, understand that this team can win without him, and then the pressure is on for him to come back and be just as great as he has always been as our MVP in order for us to make a run. I think they're in a perfect place to make a run. They're definitely going to have to catch some type of momentum and win some games in a row.
Embrace the ebb and flow that every season throws at you.
And enjoy the hope that other people in the division are providing you.
There you go.
Nate used the example of boxing. Does Bill Cowher not remind you of Evander Holyfield? Holyfield against Mike Tyson. Who had a shot? Are you kidding me? When Mike went crazy, Evander went crazier and got it done.
Yeah.
That's what this guy is to get you
So you're
motivated.
saying he's crazy.
Oh, no. Hey, Bill Cowher
JB goes
is.
from boxing to rock climbing.
Hey, but I needed your help last week to figure out what was I trying to say with the rock climbing.
Bill, real deal Cowher.
That's a good one. Hey, folks, we'll see you next week right here on the NFL Today, 12 noon Eastern. See you then.